Hello and welcome to this short training session on setting up of email aliases within Sage CRM. This is part of a cycle of 12 lessons that make up a topic covering application administration. So far in the cycle of training, we've looked at email configuration, email templates, and the control and configuration of SMS messages, and the way in which we can control the way in which messages are forwarded and replied to. Today we're looking at the setup of email aliases or alternative email addresses within Sage CRM. And we'll be going on to build up a whole set of other topics later on in this cycle, including all about mail merge and the general system settings. But today we're looking specifically at a topic around the use of email aliases. So this is designed to help the new system administrator, and we're covering the knowledge needed to understand how to set up alternative email addresses that might be used by teams and individuals within Sage CRM. Now, here's a picture of a screenshot from Outlook, and you can see that an email has been sent to the customer by sales@panoplytech.com rather than a named user. So this is an email that was composed and sent from Sage CRM's internal email client, and the address that it's come from is sales@panoplytech, which is an email alias used by members of the sales team. And that could actually be where it's returned to if the customer wants to reply to that email address as well. So what I'm going to go and do is look at how that email alias can be set up within Sage CRM. And you can see here that I've logged on to CRM as a system administrator, and I need to navigate into the administration screens. And within the administration area, I need to then go down into the email and documents area, and then down into email aliases. Now, this system that I'm looking at doesn't have any email aliases already created, so I need to click New to start the process. And you can specify a list of CRM accounts that can be used for sending emails using an email alias. These accounts can be restricted to particular teams or individual users. So, for example, I might set up support@panoplytech.com email address and make that only available to users within the customer service team or a number of specified users. Now, the email address that you can use for this purpose could be a true alias, and an email alias sometimes is called an alternative email address, and you can think of that as something like a nickname for your main email address. So it doesn't have its own inbox, but it's a forwarding address that brings an email to you. So it might be that you're named internally as within your main email box might be Susan1, but actually it would be Susan.May@Panoply Tech would be the alias that you would be using. So it's a way of presenting a particular way of showing an email address. But equally, the email address could in fact be a shared mailbox. So it could be the address which is actually a separate email account, but it's a shared one which other users can access if they're authorized to do that. So if we step on, we can start to see how this is actually used. So I've started to set this up, and I'm actually going to set it up for support at panoply-tech.com. And so this is an email address for a mail account set up on my mail server that would be shared with all members of the support team. And to start to indicate that, the mail address I've used, you can see that there's a display name, and this is a very simple name that indicates the purpose, and I've enabled the address for all members of the support and operations team. Now, if this was a true alias, as in a simply an alternative name for one individual user, then I could have associated that with that one individual user. But here, I'm also going to say that I want to be able to not only send emails as if it was coming from the support mailbox, I actually want to then have anything returned to me coming back into the reply to address. So this is going to be where the emails come back to as well. So I'm indicating that the reply email address is coming, in this case, back to customer service, but equally it could have been put to another team or to a variety of different individuals. Now, once I've saved, I can then see how the email alias is going to be experienced inside the user interface. And to do that, I'm going to log on as a different user. So up to now, I've shown the setup as a system administrator. Here, I'm logging on as Kylie Ward, a support manager. And I've come straight into my landing page, and from here I want to be able to go and find a customer record, and in this case I've gone over and found a particular person, and this is Clement Stickings. Now here I can start the process of sending an email by clicking on the email address in the top content, and this opens the internal email client. Now we're looking at the internal email client. I've covered how the internal email client works and how it's configured and how templates are created in other lessons within this series. And they're already available on the YouTube channel at Sage Customer Support. But I can select now who the email is from. So I'm actually got the ability to select the alias. So if I do that, I can continue composing my email, and I can also choose to select the reply to address to be able to make sure that anything that is sent out is sent back to the customer service team support address. And then I can also use a template to form the main structure of the message before I actually go ahead and send it. So once I've sent it, click the send button, it will appear within the list of completed actions. So I've sent my email, but I had to choose who was. I had to make the choice that I wanted to opt in to sending that, but I can also go into my own preferences as a user to control the default use of the alias. So here I'm switched over into the preferences screen, and now that I'm looking at the preferences screen, if I just click change, what you can see is that there's a default email address listed, a field for that right down on the bottom row of the top block of the screen. So top block of the screen, bottom row, you can see default email address. So if I then select that, I can now select the address to be my default. So it could either be my own address or the alias that I want. And so I select that and save it. And that would then be the default address to be used by all usage of the internal email client. Now, I said this was a very short presentation, and so this brings us to the end of the lesson. Where do we go from here? Well, In the next lesson tomorrow, we're going to be moving away from the email topics, and we'll start looking at how mail merge works for the creation of Word documents and PDFs. So join me on that. We'll be developing that topic over the next few lessons as we start to understand how document templates, including quote and order templates, are created in order to be able to construct the documents that you want to be able to share with your customers. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. Let's see if we have got any questions from this short presentation. I hope that this has been a useful session. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming along. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Bye-bye.